Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is day 4 of the shout out week. We're going to do a DIY Dollar Tree Farmhouse lavender pots. I was inspired by Kat from According to Kat. She made this beautiful lavender pots on a garden trellis, and from Sissy Can Do made the 3 pots on a picture frame, which I loved. So I combined the both of those using this long sign, this tiki sign kind of thing from the Dollar Tree. And thank you to the person who pointed it out to me. And we're going to use the 4-pack of planter pots. Sure, easy for me to say. We're going to use some white chalk paint. It doesn't have to be chalk paint. It could be just white paint. Again, the look you want. And then we're going to use a little bit of the Spanish moss colored paint. I didn't put any actual Spanish moss in this, but you could. We're going to use our famous utility knife, as well as like a flathead screwdriver, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. And then I'm actually going to use the long popsicle stick from Walmart to create the sign, which is one of the things I wanted to replicate, but you could use a regular tongue depressor size, or you could use the back of a ruler if you want to. So I want to thank the ladies who inspired me to create this DIY, as well as Lisa Vitale, who basically made me see this sign for the first time. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that faux wood paneling look, and we're going to create wood paneling. This is just something we have not done before. It's going to be a little bit different than any technique we've done before, so I wanted to go ahead and show you guys. I'm taking my box cutter and my metal ruler, and you always want to be careful and you try to use a metal ruler if you can, and I'm scoring 3 or 4 times on both sides of that black line. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to be able to create a channel in this cardboard. Now, I don't really go as far as the chipboard until the very end, but really it's about getting through the layers of cardboard. And then once you get through the layers of cardboard, you're just going to repeat it. I have a smaller flathead screwdriver that I used like dead on, but if you have a regular flathead screwdriver, you want to use it sideways, and just continue to dig out that channel. The more I rubbed it back and forth, I got like scrolls of paper come out and little strips of paper, and it will look like it's going to leave a rough edge, but I kind of wanted that rough edge, and we'll go over in a minute how it's going to how we're going to fix it. You'll see. But all of the weathering techniques that we did, I always overlooked the obvious, and I guess that's the way I want to say it, but when we get to it, I'll talk to you about it a little bit further. But what are you going to do is you're just going to continue until you get all the layers of paper. You don't have to get into the chipboard, but you just want to make sure you get all of the layers of paper, because then what we're going to do is, very carefully, we're just going to remove the top shiny layer of paper with all of the glitter, and we're going to leave the gray under paper. Okay, I know that's going to sound weird. I hope everybody's boards actually react this way, because it was kind of what I was hoping to do. You know, we've peeled the shiny paper off and then wet the cardboard to get it off. But I realized something. We always make this board brown and then we paint it white to make it gray. Does that make sense? So I knew that the paper under here was gray, so I was like, let's see what it looks like if we just start on that gray paper. And that's pretty much what we're going to do. So you don't want to dig too deep down. You want to leave the gray paper. And actually, I got lucky. This last 2 strips came off. Isn't it amazing? It's like when you peel an orange in one strip. You just get so excited. It's the little things in life that excite you when you can get all the paper off in one strip. But also scoring the paper between it also made it easier. It basically loosened it up a little bit. So I just took my screwdriver again and just chiseled out all of those little, basically those little canals. And then I took some sandpaper and just knocked off, the rough edges. And I repeat this process a few times, like I said, just till you get to the chipboard. Now I'm taking the side of my screwdriver and I'm just wiggling lines just to kind of create wood grain. I just thought it would enhance the picture, and because the cardboard, this gray cardboard, does chisel, I guess, a lot easier than the chipboard. It really did take the lines really well. So I just took a few, wiggled them back and forth. You do a couple of rows in a row, and it kind of creates that effect. And then I wanted to make sure I turned it around, because we tend to not dig in the beginning as far as we dig in the end. So what I like to do is turn it around and then continue to make sure that the channel is dug out evenly from the top to the bottom. Okay. Now, I'm not worrying about the holes today. Hopefully you got to be able to see that wood grain a little bit. I'm not worrying about the holes today because only one will actually show up, and it's not objectionable to me, but if it is to you, obviously. I took the sandpaper and I basically rounded the corners a little bit, but you can skip that step as well. And I am taking the absolute driest paintbrush that I could possibly get. I filled this paintbrush and then I like wiped it off on the lid, and then I went back, and then I basically put probably, I'd say like 4 drops of paint maybe on each area, and then I just spread the heck out of it. And of course I wanted to leave some gray areas because that was the whole point of doing this easier. Oop, that was too much paint. Spread it out, spread it out. And I wanted to make sure I got the edges because for some reason that was important to me. And I wanted to make sure I didn't put paint in the grooves that we just created because you don't want them to fill up and then then you're like, what did I just do that for? But if you do accidentally get paint in there, get it out right away, and you can use the screwdriver method will work as well. But if you could see, I'm really trying not to make this neat, and I really want that whitewash to soak into that cardboard, and I really want to get this really looking weathered. And I wish you could see it in person because, again, just like most of the projects, the camera doesn't do them justice. It really does look like whitewashed wood, and so much easier than cleaning the whole thing off. So now we're going to take these pots. Now, Sissy found different pots, like sort of the seed starter pots, and she felt like she needed to double them up. These ones are a little thicker. I like them. I know some people did have trouble finding them, but go ahead and check out her channel and see which pots she bought, and then you can try to use what she used there. But what I did was I basically found the middle line. There's sort of 2 round circles that line up, and I drew it on for you guys, but the second pot you'll see I don't draw on. I just kind of freehanded it. But you just want to be able to get the sides as flat and even as possible. I started on the sides with the X-Acto knife. I went straight down to the to where it curves over at the lip. Then I did the other side, and then once I brought the 2 sides together, it snapped right in half, which was perfect. Okay, and I did. This project is going to use 3 pots. Sissy used 3 pots. Kat only used 2, but she put hers on a garden trellis. You have to check out her video. It's amazing. But I wanted to combine, like I said, I wanted to combine the 2 projects to basically give these ladies some love. Plus, I loved this. I loved the lavender, and I loved this. Now, I didn't mention that we needed lavender in the instructions because you can really make this with wildflowers or roses. You can make your flower pots say whatever you want because the sign is interchangeable. Obviously, it's not a pattern that we're writing. We're just writing the word lavender. So now I'm taking a little bit of that Spanish moss and the white that was left over on the paintbrush, and I'm just sort of like blobbing on, like stamping on, stenciling on, pouncing on some green white combination to kind of add age to the pots. They're plastic and they're pretty, but they look like they're brand new, so you don't want them to look like they're brand new, right? We're not going to have a weathered fence and then brand new pots. It's just not going to happen. So I like the combination of the green and white. And then I took white paint and then with a little bit of the green left in it, and I painted the sign. Now what I did to my sign was I took both ends off instead of flat. I kind of created back and forth with the scissor to kind of give like a old board end. But that was off camera, and I'm so sorry. I adjusted the camera for the previous video and didn't even realize I didn't adjust it back, so I apologize. Oh, I forgot to say you needed moss. Well, not moss, foam. Hey, you need a piece of foam. And actually, this is optional. We've done things before. You could stuff garbage bags down here. But the foam just makes it so much easier. I only used 1 block of the wet foam. It comes in like 5 little blocks in the big block, and I only used 1 for all 3 pots. You don't have to worry about filling the pot, and I'll show you that in a minute, but you just want to be able to have something that you can glue onto. And then I took this and almost duplicated her word lavender almost to the T. I tried to really hard. I loved that part of this project. Like, that was really the selling feature for I want to remake this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 1 block, I cut it in thirds lengthwise, and then I made it fit, basically cut off the triangle parts of the of the foam so they fit in the pot. And they don't go as deep as the round part of the pot, but they don't really need to. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little hot glue to the inside of the bottom of the pot and glue that foam in flush with the board. Basically, that's pretty much what we're going to do. Then we're going to put glue around the edge of the pot as well as the back of the foam, and we're going to glue the boards in place. Now, of course, I used the stripes that we made as sort of a way to make it even. I found it best to put on the one pot on the left, one pot on the right, and then find the middle to basically nail it right between there. And this way, if your middle one doesn't line up, you could have maybe said, I did that on purpose. I wanted this one to be lower or this one to be higher. So anyway, that's just a little tip for me, from me to you. Now, I didn't add any Spanish moss or reindeer moss to the insides of these pots because the lavender fills up pretty nice, but obviously that's always an option. You could also add Spanish moss or reindeer moss to the outside of the pots to make the pots look more aged. Of course, you can also age the sign more or any of those steps as well, but I wanted to keep it, I wanted to kiss. I wanted to keep it so simple. Okay, so now I've decided to take the lavender from Walmart and mix it with the lavender from the Dollar Tree, just to give it a different dimension, different textures, and slightly different colors. So what I did was I pilfered it from another project, and I stuck 2 bunches in each on the sides and 1 in the middle, and then I took the little lavender leftover from, I mean not the lavender leftover, the lavender I got from Dollar Tree, and I put a bunch in the middle and then a little bit on each side just to balance it out. I didn't want all 3 pots to look the same, and they don't, but I definitely wanted the 2 on the edges too as well. Okay. Now, as you can see, the pots are getting pretty full. So like I said, I didn't feel the need for a Spanish moss or reindeer moss in the pots. But again, obviously, go right ahead. Now, of course, you could do these with any other flowers. You can make the sign say wildflowers. You can put wildflowers in there. You can make the sign say daisies. You can actually make this where the sign can be interchangeable. That's entirely up to you, 100%. Now, another cute signage for this would be the little garden stakes that they have at Dollar Tree. If you could just write on one of those and stick them in one of the flower pots, that would look super cute too. So now what I've done is I've glued a piece of jute across the back of the sign, but made sure I came up on both corners. So it was straight across the middle, except the corners I came up and basically intersected across the corners. And then I glued it to the back of the board, just about the same distance. I tried to make it as even as possible, and yeah, and that's it. And now I'm also going to put a hanger on here, but I wanted to show you that you can actually make 2 of those little noose hangers that we make, and you can put 1 on each side, and they don't have to be exactly identical, and they don't have to be in the same space, because once you hang it, you're going to hang it knowing where your hangers are. And that's it. I love it. Sissy, Cat, thank you so much. I love this project. I hope you guys do too. If you give it a thumbs up, don't forget to check the ladies out. Their links to their videos are in the description box down below. I really am enjoying this series. I'm sorry it's almost over. If you guys have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share this video with friends and family. Anybody you know might be interested in learning any of these techniques or learning how to make one of these. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. When you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, you take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye!